going on? This is Kevin B., better known as Skeeter. Welcome to Let's Talk About Adoption and Foster Care podcast. Um, let's just jump right into it. The topic today will be um, emotions, trauma. It's episode number 8. Yeah, gonna jump right into it. I tell you, dealing with the emotional and the trauma that comes with being a foster kid or a adoptee is very hard to explain. Um, we all heard the term of PTSD. Um, we adoptee kind of experience the same thing. Um, Being detached from your mother at birth is a trauma. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but it is because you have that emotional tie with your mom. And if you never had that, all of a sudden, all of a sudden, you've been disattached from that. That caused a lot of trauma, and a lot of adoptees can attest to that. Now, the trauma might act out differently in everyone because every adoption is different, and every adoptee is different. But there is trauma, and I think that we should discuss this more amongst adoption organizations and foster care organizations. It's one thing just trying to make a quota or trying to place someone in a home or whatever, or try to give a child to individuals that they can't bear children. Or that's all well and good, but there are other things that come with that package. That child um, is going to experience some things that you know other individuals that have their biological family won't ever experience. We're unique, and it's high time that people understand that. I can talk from my own personal experience, the trauma and the emotions that I've been through up and down in life. Um, that sometimes I couldn't. Well, most of the time I couldn't discuss it with no one because nobody would understand. Same old thing. I'll be grateful. It's in the past. Get through it. Stop crying. Stop whining. And sometimes, and most of the time, that's the wrong answer because this trauma and this emotional roller coaster that one goes through, some people act out in different ways. And, sometimes it's positive and sometimes it can be negative. But either way, it's not a good thing for that individual foster care kid, or adoptee, to hear them type of remarks coming from people that haven't experienced that. That's like telling someone that has been through rape or something of that sexual in nature, telling them to get over it, or telling someone that has, that's experienced racism to get over it. It's the same thing, it's a trauma that's attached to that. And we adoptees and foster care children are not different when it comes to that. Now, me dealing with some of these emotions and trauma, I like to say that I have a strong mind, but not always. That was not always the case. I had to train myself. I had to find different vehicles and things to try to help with some of the trauma and some of the emotional roller coasters and stuff that I have to deal with. And that was through, playing playing card games, going to sleep at a young age and real early, and just trying to hurry up and start trying to dream of good things and positive things, to playing video games, to joining the military, to writing, all these different things and different events that has happened different things that I use to help me deal with this trauma is something that I had to battle with all through my life and still am battling because, you never get over it as people want you to because, them years in my situation, 56 years will never be made up. That connection, the things that I missed, um, that will never be accounted for. Yes, I can, look and see different things that I connect with in my biological family, but there's a whole lot of things that I will never, ever be able to experience. Like for one, I will never be able to experience to one of my big brothers because he passed before I even got to meet him, or my biological father, who I will never get to meet. I get to talk to him at his gravesite, but I will never get to shake his hand, or I will never get his approval. These little uh, things that a lot of people take advantage for. A lot of times, we adoptees and foster care children will never experience that. And we have experienced some other things. We have experienced abuse, mentally, physically, sexually, verbally. We have experienced that. So you compound that along with taking certain things away from you. Um, all that is part of the trauma experience. And we as a society has to come better with dealing with these things. We're real good to say, hey, listen, look what we did. We gave this kid a home, we did this and that. But there are other things need to come with that. That kid should get counseling. That kid should be able to have access to certain things about himself. That kid should not be detached from their culture. There's a whole lot of things that we should do better when it comes to adoption. We really do need to come better and be conscious of some of the things that a kid has to deal with when they get older. Because I can tell you this, that kid, might know you as their parents or whatever, but eventually somewhere down the line, they might find out that they was adopted and they come from a different country and they have a whole different culture and a language. And that might flip on you. So why not just, get all that out the way and let that person grow up and know as much as they can about themselves. At the same time, appreciate the opportunity to grow in a loving family home, because not all adoptions and not all foster care situations are bad. Some of them are good. Like my situation, my mom didn't want me at the time, so the choices was very limited. So in that case, I'm thankful. But it would have been really appreciated if the state would have been able to attach my records and everything about my bloodline and all that, to my adoptive family. That's the thing with adoption. It seems to protect one person, but it takes away from another person. And we have to be a little bit better with that. So that's going to wrap it up. I like to be quick, short to the point, to give things for people to think about. Next week, we're going to have a special guest. She comes from London, and we're going to interview her. And we're going to talk about her situation. And like I said, each adoptee or adoption or foster care situation is different. She was raised in a biracial environment, and it's it's very interesting. So she's gonna come on our show. Ashantia, I think that's her name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong or right, but anyway, she hails from London, and she will be here next week for episode number 9. So with all that being said, once again, be strong. Adoptees, foster care kids, be strong. You can do or be anything you want to be. Just have to put the work in, and don't let your past affect your future, and don't let nobody tell you that you can't. I am to tell you that you can. So be good, and until next week, peace. Take care now. Bye-bye.